Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
What's up guys, I'm Andy from 1A Auto. In this video, I'm going to be replacing the water pipe in this 2007 Mini Cooper S. If you need parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1aauto.com. All right, we're going to remove this hose right here. A little section right here that pulls up. Pull that retainer off. And just slide that out. Disconnect this right here. Use a straight blade screwdriver. Loosen up this worm clamp. And we'll loosen up this one down below here. This goes to the turbocharger. We'll disconnect this connector right here. A little lock here. Just pull up on that lock, slide it out. We're going to disconnect this hose right here. There's a little lock right here. Push down on that, remove that. So that's out of our way. We can slide this hose off here. Slide it out of the way. I'm just going to remove these 4 screws on the airbox. Use a T25 extension and a ratchet. Get those loosened up. They don't have to come out all the way. And then I'll disconnect this connector right here. Just push down on that lock. It's for the mass airflow sensor. Grab the airbox, rotate it, slide it out of our way. All right, I'm gonna disconnect this intake tube right here. There is some little locks on it. So if you take a straight blade screwdriver, get underneath here, you can release it. Just rotate it a little bit and pull it out. We'll slide this up. And there's some locks on the front side. You can get in there from right here. Just slide underneath here. Release these. We can pull this out. Just twist it. Rotate it and it'll come right out. We're going to want to move these vacuum lines out of our way. So over here, I'm going to get a small 90-degree pick. Get under here. Try to loosen this up. And then work it off, just like that. And then over here, I'm going to take this vacuum line off as well. Just use a different pick. And pull that off. Then we'll take these and set them aside. I'm going to disconnect this connector right here, just so I have more room to move the wiring harness around. And then also this little retainer right here that holds the wiring harness attached to the valve cover. Slide that up. You could use a pick tool under there or a screwdriver to help you move that around. Then I have a little more room to wiggle this harness around. Now I want to disconnect these 2 electrical connectors in here. You want to keep in mind which one goes where, because I believe that the connectors are the exact same. This one has 1 wire going in right here. This one has 2 wires. Just take a little pick, slide underneath here, disconnect that connector, and then also this one. Pull that connector out. All right, so I'm going to take this connector out. There is a lock on the back side. That's why it's kind of hard to get out. I'm trying to push both locks at the same time. There we go. Slide it out. See, there was a lock on the other side as well. Pull that off, and then there's a connector right here. disconnect that as well. Just use another pick to release the lock on the connector. Slide it off. Just get underneath there with the pick. And it just gives me a little more room with the wiring harness. You don't necessarily have to take these off to do this job, but it just makes it a lot easier. All right, I'm just gonna attach a bungee to this wiring harness to move it out of the way. Mostly for filming purposes. You could just slide it out of your way. From underneath the vehicle, I'm gonna drain the coolant. I'm gonna drain it at this hose right here. There's no easy access port to a drain on the radiator. I don't believe there's an actual drain on the radiator. So we'll just loosen up this hose clamp. Just use hose clamp pliers. Move it to the side. Make sure you have a drain bucket to catch the coolant. And I'm just gonna loosen this up. And slowly drain some coolant out. Now our coolant's drained out. I'm just gonna hook this back up so I don't have to do it later. And then take my hose clamp pliers. Now if this hose clamp is weak, you're gonna wanna replace it with a worm style hose clamp. But this one's nice and strong, so we'll just reuse that, and that's good. Just gonna remove this coolant reservoir to get out of my way. You don't necessarily have to do this, but then I'll have more room to work under here. So just take the hose clamp, remove this hose, just take a pick, get underneath here, loosen this up. Take that hose off there. I'm just gonna take a 8mm socket, extension, and a ratchet, remove this bolt right here. We can grab the reservoir. Sometimes this is a little tricky to get out. Just take a pick, get underneath here, slide it forward, slide that out like that, pull it up. And actually, I can just leave it out of my way like that. Now I have more room right here to access this hose. I'm just gonna use some hose clamp pliers. Take this hose clamp off right here. This is the upper radiator hose. It goes to the top part of the radiator. Now once you release the hose clamp, it stays unlocked, just like that. So we'll just move that aside and just twist the hose back and forth. And slide it off. You might want to have a drain pan underneath because some of the coolant may still drain out. Next, I'm going to use this tool. We actually sell this tool at 1aauto.com. It's a hose clamp pliers with a cable. So when you tighten the cable, this tightens down this section. So we're going to clip this onto the hose clamp over here and squeeze the cable. It's going to release the hose clamp. Then with it locked, I can actually twist the hose back and forth and release it. Once it's off, and I can release the tension on the pliers. Move that out of our way. Now there's a hose clamp underneath here that I'm gonna have to get to. Can release this right here. Slide that back. Then I'll take these pliers again and take this hose clamp off over here. Just try to wiggle the hose and slide it off. And use this pick. Try to slide the hose off. take that off. A lot more coolant's coming out. All right, this hose clamp is a little bit too close to this area right here. I'm just gonna take a straight blade screwdriver, just pry out on it a little bit, just to try to rotate it, just so we can access it easier. And I'll use some hose clamp pliers and loosen it up. Squeeze that, move it aside, and slide this hose off. Oops. Just grab the hose, rotate it. Just to give me some more room, I'm just gonna take this piece off. I'm gonna use some needle nose pliers, release this hose retainer right here. Squeeze that. Then I'm gonna take this and rotate it and slide it out. Okay, now I'm gonna take this clip off in the back side. It's kind of hard to see. I'm just gonna use a straight blade screwdriver. Get in there, get underneath the clip. Slide this out, just like that. Might have to make sure it's out enough. You can pull it all the way out. Just gonna use a 10mm socket, an extension and a ratchet. Take this bolt out right here. Loosen it up. Pull that bolt out. And there's going to be another one right here in the front. Loosen this bolt up. And there's another bolt underneath here. If you need to, you can always reference the new thermostat housing that you have and see where the bolts are. Oops, dropped it. Pull that bolt out. All right, now we're gonna grab this housing and just rotate it back and forth a little bit. Try to slide it off. We still have a hose connected over here. I pulled the hose clamp off, but the hose is still connected. I'm gonna take this pick and just try to get that hose off. All right, that's disconnected. We can just slide this out. We're still connected in the back here. That crossover, I'm just trying to work it back and forth. I'm gonna try rotating this a little bit. The O-ring is stuck, and it's probably because it's been on there since the car was brand new. So, just work this back and forth. Try taking a screwdriver and getting in between the housing and the crossover pipe. The housing is real brittle in this car, so we're gonna have to replace the crossover pipe as well. Disconnect that and pull it out. Then we're gonna pull this crossover pipe out. Just slide it out just like that. All right, now I'm gonna show you where that crossover pipe goes. Down here, it's kind of hard to see, but keep going. Now the water pump is that little silver round thing around the middle area right there. You can see that is where the crossover pipe goes. Now there's a little piece of the pipe in there, so I'm gonna actually have to pull it out. And it's hard to show on film, but I just wanted to show you with the camera where it is. Okay, I'm reaching my arm way down in the back there so that I can pull out some of the pieces that came off that pipe, that water pipe. That's the O-ring, and that's the pipe that broke. That's why we had a coolant leak. So I got the other piece that broke off in there too. I'm gonna try to get as much of it out as possible. because you don't want that stuff floating around in there. So you can see this is where the O-ring would go, and this is where those pieces would go on the pipe, just like the new one. So there you go. All right, I'm just gonna take a piece of like a sanding pad. You could use some sandpaper or some type of emery cloth or something. I just need to clean the edges because there is some corrosion on the aluminum. It's very hard to see, so I'm just gonna show you with my arm down there, just cleaning the surfaces where the O-ring's gonna sit. Now I'm just gonna take a rag and just clean that area. Again, you can't see this, but I'm just gonna clean, get any of that stuff off so that the sealing surface is good for the O-ring on the new crossover pipe. I'm just gonna, before I install this water pipe, I'm gonna just take a little bit of grease, a little grease on the O-ring. So just make it easier to go in. Just make sure you use a grease that's gonna work with coolant. It's gonna help prevent it from ripping. And now we're gonna slide this pipe down here. It's kind of hard to see. There is, when we get the pipe installed in these locations, there is a couple wiring harnesses that can, that the retainers are gonna go through there. There's little like Christmas tree clips. Those came out with the other one. So just install that, get it lined up. It's gonna be tricky to do. So to help install this, I have this borescope that I have the camera aimed at the pipe and the hole where it's supposed to go. It's actually helping me be able to see down in there. We actually sell this borescope at oneaauto.com. See, that's the water pump right there, and that's the housing on the outside. I'm trying to get the pipe to go right over the water pump. All right, so I'm right there in that area, and that's where the pipe is gonna go in. Pushing that pipe in. Now there's a wiring harness that goes, the pipe goes through the wiring harness between the wiring harness and the engine block. So keep that in mind, that you wanna have that going in the correct way, because otherwise it's not gonna fit. When you're installing the pipe, this is the old one, you're gonna want it in this direction, so the pipe goes down, and that makes a huge difference when you're trying to install it. And the wiring harness is gonna be on this side, and there's a little clip that holds the wiring harness in there. I can't show it on video because it's too tight in there, but so send it in there and just push it once it's lined up, and it should go right in. Before I take the thermostat housing, I'm actually gonna clean up the area right here where the gasket's gonna meet. And just take a little sandpaper or some emery cloth and just clean up this area. Just take a little parts cleaner and a rag and just wipe this down. And I'll just take a little bit of grease, put it on this O-ring so that it goes in smooth. I'm gonna take this, and position this into the pipe, like that. Oh, we're gonna make sure that we get this pipe installed as well. So we'll slide that on there first, because we never took that pipe off. It's just easier to not have to take that pipe off. And then get the O-ring lined up with the pipe, the water pipe. Get that lined up. And just wiggle it on. Okay, that slipped in. And that pipe's on down below here. So we're gonna take these 10mm bolts, get them started. Just take the socket and the extension that's gonna help me get the bolts lined up. Just take my socket and extension and ratchet, and we'll just snug these down. I'm going to use a torque wrench and a 10mm socket. I'm going to tighten these down to 8 Newton meters. Alright, now we're going to install this retainer clip. It's going to go over here. Just slide that in position there. And lock it down in place. Okay, now we're gonna resecure this hose clamp down here before we forget. Just take our hose clamp pliers, move that clip right there. Next we'll do this back hose right here. Get this in position. Take this hose clamp pliers, squeeze that pretty tight. Just watch your fingers when you're working around the hose clamps because sometimes they let go. And that's in position, and release it. All right, next we're gonna install this hose. This goes to the lower radiator. Just gonna squeeze the clamp first. And line it up. And that looks good. And I'll release. And you can take this one. Now this one was already locked. So this is that lock that I was talking about, that sometimes if you tighten it too tight, then you go into like an unlock mode. So you can actually slide this one right on. And then we can release that. Sometimes you can take a pick. Sometimes you take a screwdriver and then just try to rotate this. Got it to release. I'm just gonna move it into the right position. Just take the hose clamp pliers and just move it. We could use some needle nose pliers. That looks good right there. Now we're gonna take this bungee cord off. Oh, and we'll move the reservoir. Get the reservoir in the right position. Just like that. Take this hose, install the hose, move the hose clamp. Take this bolt. Tighten this down with a 8mm socket, an extension and a ratchet. Just snug. All right, now I'm gonna remove this bungee cord. This is gonna go in this position. There's a couple little tabs on the bottom of this wiring harness bracket that slide into those little holes. Like that. And then on the back side there's a connector. Now we'll connect this connector down here. Slide that in position there. Then there's this connector right here. Line that up, lock it in place. And there's these two connectors that were the same connectors. The one with 2 wires goes over here. lock it in place. And then the other one, the single wire, goes right here. We can connect the wiring harness right here. Next, we're going to install this intake part of the airbox. Just line this in position, push it in, and twist it. All right, now we're going to take this tube and slide this down here. We're just going to have to twist it. And just keep twisting it. Get that in position. We'll lock that in right here. And that's good right there. And then lock it in over here. And that's good right there. One thing we forgot to add these little hoses. They go underneath this air tube. So before we put everything back together, we can slide these underneath right here, just like that. And then this one's going to connect right here, just like that. And then this one's going to connect over here. I'll take the airbox, line these 3 tabs up with the slots in the top of the airbox, just like that. And we'll take these screws, get those started, and tighten these screws down. Snug those down. Before I put this on, I'll just connect the mass airflow sensor right there. And then we can take this hose. This is going to go on this side. This intake tube. This actually goes down to the turbo down here. Slide that on there. That's slid in. Then we can take a straight blade screwdriver, tighten this worm clamp down. We can do the same on this side. We'll connect this connector right here. We'll connect this hose right here. Lock it in place. There's a little retainer that holds it right down here, just like that. And we'll take this hose. It's going to slide onto the valve cover, just like that. And then there's this retainer that's going to hold that hose in there. Lock it in place. So before we add the coolant, we're going to want to open up the bleeder screw. We'll just take a straight blade screwdriver, go down here, and loosen up the bleeder screw. Just a couple turns, not too much. Then we're going to take the appropriate coolant, and you're going to want a 50-50 mixture, and add the coolant. We'll just keep adding it until it starts coming out of the bleeder screw. You may hear some air coming out. And then once it starts coming out, you're going to close the bleeder screw. You just have to watch that. And you'll just snug it up. Now we want the coolant level to be about where the level is. This is a little bit on the higher side. And then we're going to start the vehicle. I'm going to start the vehicle with the cap off, leave it running for a while, let the engine warm up, constantly monitoring to make sure that the engine is not overheating. I like to leave the heater on so that the engine, I can tell that the engine's full of coolant and the coolant's cycling, doing its thing. And then after about 10 minutes, the thermostat should have opened and you can shut the vehicle off, let it cool down, recheck your level, adjust accordingly, take it for a road test, and then adjust again when you get back, and you should be good to go.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.